The DigiPodcast, digital trends in supply chain management.
Hello and welcome to our DigiPodcast. I'm Thomas Holzner from Siemens SCM DigiNetwork with the DigiPodcast, a podcast on digital and innovative topics for procurement in the future. Digitalization is becoming increasingly important for every company. At Siemens in particular, digitalization is a fundamental element for success. Siemens is a really international company with around 300,000 employees around the globe. The technical expertise and comprehensive portfolio are helping to be a pioneer in a sustainable future across the globe, also in India, and this since 1867. So, India is important, but more important is that I have somebody from India here as a special guest, and it's the head of supply chain management in India. Hi, Simon.
Hi Thomas, thanks a lot for having me here and thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, it's a pleasure and it's really great that you take the time in these turbulent times. So, come to the point. What's Siemens India and what are your key tasks of Siemens India? And for example, how big is your purchasing volume there?
All right, so about Siemens in India. For the entire Siemens group, India is one of the most important regions, or we call it lead country. And we have additional several assigned countries as well, which we are managing from India. As of today, there are around 20,000 employees located in India, supporting all the businesses for Siemens. And currently, we are operating 20 factories and 40 offices. About our purchasing volume, which we are managing, well, you can say roughly 50% of the revenue plus minus, depends on the business type, is purchasing volume. And since we are a listed company here, all the figures are accessible on our homepage. Additionally, we support value sourcing activities with our strong supplier base from India for Siemens operations outside of the country. And when you ask about the key tasks, what is our key task? Our key task as procurement, of course, is to focus to generate value through and with our supplier base and partners for the company and the society.
Thanks. That was Siemens India in a nutshell. So now we know roughly about Siemens India and Siemens SCM India. Thanks for this comprehensive summary. And now coming directly to you as head of SCM. What are your biggest challenges in India?
Thomas, yes, we have a lot of challenges. Let me try to separate between internal and external influence challenges. On the internal side, I would say it's sometimes slightly better for us to influence and control and to improve and to overcome. On the digitalization side, when we look into this, I personally would say the potential biggest challenge is our own mindset and change management. Very simple, some colleagues might be afraid of if we digitize processes like, is my job still secured or do I have the right skills or why should I change because we did this the last 10 years like this. And further with digitalization you achieve transparency, and transparency allows benchmarking and comparison. We need to accept this. But with this, of course, we can identify efficient processes or maybe not so efficient processes. Data does not lie. And here, as well as a management, we need to support to actively approach and allow such culture and mind shift changes.
Sounds similar to all the other countries. Data doesn't lie, fear of losing a job. So these were the internal ones. What about your external challenges?
Well, when it comes to external challenges, we are just in an improving phase from the pandemic situation. India had one of the longest and strictest lockdowns. Except essential operation, the entire country was shut down. Our own operations, the supplier operations, the logistics have been interrupted, and a real extremely challenging situation here. Health system massively stretched, but here the Siemens Global Procurement Network was immense supporting, like delivering essential products for the country.
Good to hear. This sounds you're doing something good for the society, but you're also doing other things extremely well, and that's about the SCM DigiNetwork. You are one of the pillars of the DigiNetwork. Could you please share your experience regarding DigiNetwork and digitalization experiences?
Of course, Thomas. Yes, we have a branch of the SCM DigiNetwork in India. I have to say we required 2 attempts to form the DigiNetwork. One was a top-down approach of the DigiNetwork, to be honest, which didn't really work out because of various reasons. I do not want to go into all the details here. But then what I can say, a bottom-up approach, so meaning by a group of like-minded people formed newly then an SCM DigiNetwork here for India, as a self-managed, self-organized, without hierarchies, a group who is focusing on digitalization, innovation, and mindset change.
That's great. I was several times invited. Maybe you share one or two examples to the listeners.
Yes, of course. This group did a fantastic job. And just to name DigiChai, for example, or Failure Night. What is DigiChai? This is a platform the group created to focus on concrete, smaller challenges and problems within the organization and to identify quick solutions for the country. And with this, it provided fast successes where the team can be proud of. Or Failure Night, which is a very important and famous, let's say, initiative here in India meanwhile. Failure Night is a session, is a platform where senior leaders share their stories about their careers and the failures which happened. Why do we want to promote this? Because we want to promote this culture that as well our younger colleagues understand a failure can happen and they should not stop to try and explore new things.
And your team does it really professional, because I was also invited to be one of the first victims on this hot chair of the Failure Night. So thanks, Simon, for this great summary about India and the DigiNetwork in India. And now the last but not least most important question, who is Simon in a nutshell?
Who is Simon? Well, yes, I'm a Siemens person, I have to say. I spent my entire work life with the company. It's just a great company. And I always wanted to work international and decided therefore straight after my A-levels to join Siemens. And so I have to say the company allowed and offered me 3 international assignments, one to Egypt, one to Qatar, and now to India, which is around 10 years together abroad. All I can just say, you need to be ready. When someone offers you a change, don't think too much, just do it.
And it's not only his professional setup, it's also his social setup, because I have the pleasure to work for a longer time together with Simon. So he's a really global citizen and I'm really impressed how he's managing all his challenges. So thank you, Simon, for all your insights. Thanks to our listeners. I hope you enjoyed this episode of our DigiPodcast. If you have questions or you want to find out more information about the SCM DigiNetwork, reach out to our internet page siemens.com/DigiNetwork. I'm looking forward to having you as a listener at our next episode. Yours, Thomas Holzner from the Siemens SCM DigiNetwork. Goodbye.
The DigiPodcast, Digital Trends in Supply Chain Management.